Discover the incredible journey of a U.S. Navy diver. A heartwarming transformation exposed. The waves crashed against the rocky shore, echoing the turbulent emotions inside Jack Reynolds. A U.S. Navy diver, he had earned his place among the brave, yet the scars of his past throbbed fresh in his mind. He stood on the edge of a long pier, the salty breeze whipping through his hair, feeling the weight of two worlds pulling at him. One was his steady commitment to the Navy, an unshakable bond forged from years of grueling training and unwavering resolve. The other was the distant, chilling legacy of a father he hardly knew. Now on the brink of reality's cruel end, Jack was raised by a relentless single mother who battled the odds every day to support their small family. She taught him the value of hard work and self-reliance, and he wore the lessons like armor. As the townspeople whispered praises of his estranged father's lifetime achievements, a decorated mayor, a beloved coach, Jack felt a knot tighten in his chest. He was just a blue-collar hero in their eyes, his worth overshadowed by the prestige of a man who had turned his back on him long ago. But today he had a chance. A pivotal diving mission loomed ahead, one that could finally bring him the recognition he sought. His heart raced, a mix of excitement and desperation humming beneath his skin. Could he finally prove to himself and perhaps to his father that he was more than just a name lost in the shadows? Just then, a phone call shattered his thoughts. His heart sank as he heard the news. His father was in the hospital, health declining rapidly. Memories flashed through Jack's mind, those long-ago arguments, the silence of unanswered letters, the ache of longing that twisted his gut. He was torn between duty and the longing for approval that had eluded him all his life. The town's adoration for his father was a sharp knife. Every heartfelt prayer echoed his own feelings of inadequacy. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Fueled by desperation, Jack whispers a pledge to the unforgiving tide. He would show them all that heroism isn't measured by the grandiosity of family name, but by sacrifice and integrity. His resolve surged like the waves crashing against the cliffs. He could hear the town's hushed judgments, but this was his time to shine. He poured his heart into a new initiative for veterans, breathing life into the dreams of those who served before him. Just when hope glimmered in the distance, a diving incident brought chaos crashing down. What was supposed to be a moment of triumph turned into a nightmare, with fingers pointing and whispers growing. He found himself spiraling, questioning his worth as the approval he craved teetered on the edge of oblivion. Would he falter now? As he battled to navigate the storm, the idea of reconciling with his father became a flickering light in the depths of despair. Could he bridge the decades of hurt? Could a way forward exist amidst the pain? Jack stood on the precipice of a crucial decision, the tides of hope and uncertainty clashing around him. Would he finally uncover the truth about dignity and love as he searched for the connection he feared would forever remain out of reach? Jack watched the waves roll in, feeling a storm brewing inside him. The news of his father in the hospital hit harder than any tide he had ever faced. Each crash of surf against the rocks mirrored the tumult in his heart. He hadn't spoken to his father in years. A part of him felt anger, another part fueled by longing. As he turned away from the pier, the decision weighed heavy on his shoulders. Would he visit? The image of his father's frail form made his stomach clench. A deep breath steadied him. But could he muster the courage to face the man who had left him behind? He was torn. Duty called, but so did family. He wanted to prove he was more than just a shadow, that he could stand tall in his own right. Yet, the shadow was often too comforting. The fear of disappointment deep-rooted. The diving incident hung over him like a dark cloud. That morning hadn't gone as planned. The chaos unfurled like a bad dream, one he couldn't shake off. As rumors spread, he found himself at the center of scrutiny instead of celebration. He thought of his comrades, their eyes filled with concern, waiting for him to make sense of it all. But how could he lead them when he felt so lost? He leaned against the cool metal of his truck, staring at the empty road ahead. In that moment of solitude, he remembered his mom's voice, filled with support and belief. "You're not just a Reynolds," she would say, "you're Jack. And that's enough." He could almost hear her laughter, feel her warmth. Tears prickled the corners of his eyes. She had always been his rock. Even now, he could feel her in every decision he faced. Jack wiped his eyes and shook off the wave of emotion that threatened to drown him. He started his truck's engine, carrying him toward the hospital. Each turn of the wheel was a reminder it was time to confront his past, to face the man who had defined so much of his life. The hospital loomed larger as he drew closer, every heartbeat filled with uncertainty. Pulling into the parking lot, he sat for a moment, his hands clenching the steering wheel. Jack tried to imagine what he would say. "I'm here." Simple words, heavy with meaning. Or perhaps, "Why didn't you care?" The contrast made him ache. Gradually, he stepped out, the weight of the world pressing down on him. The stark white walls of the hospital felt cold and unforgiving as he approached the entrance. Each footfall echoed his conflicted heart. Could he face the man he had built up in his mind for so long? Would there be a chance for understanding, for reconciliation, or had he waited too long? Inside, the air was thick with the scent of antiseptics and anxiety. He moved with purpose yet hesitation toward the room where his father lay. Taking a deep breath, he paused outside the door. Was he ready to confront a past filled with hurt? As he pushed the door open, the sight of his father on the hospital bed stopped him in his tracks. Frail, pale, and so far removed from the man of his childhood memories, Jack felt his heart twist. He had imagined it would be easier to confront the man who had chosen distance. But standing there, he felt the gravity of every decision that had led him to this point. "Dad," the word barely escaped his lips. Would this be their moment to bridge the gap of silence? Would he find hope amidst the hurt? Jack was unsure as he took a shaky step forward, emotions swirling like the ocean outside. As their eyes met, the air crackled with unspoken words, fragments of a lifetime swirling between them. This moment held the potential for healing or for breaking apart. What would he say next? In that fragile space, uncertainty loomed like the tide ready to crash once more. Jack's heart raced in the suffocating silence that filled the room. The sight of his father was surreal. He was a shadow of the man Jack remembered, lost among the sheets and beeping machines. Was this frail figure really the one who had once stood tall and proud in his life? "Dad," Jack tried again, his voice breaking, felt almost foreign. He could see the flicker of recognition in his father's sunken eyes, but he wasn't sure if they held any warmth. It was a moment pregnant with tension, both hopeful and fearful. "Jack?" His father's voice cracked, barely above a whisper. It was the first time he'd heard it in years, and it hung in the air between them like a lifeline, fragile yet desperately needed. Jack took a step closer, feeling the weight of years of silence crash over him. "I didn't know you were," he paused, the anger rising within him, but he held it back for now. "I wasn't sure if I would come." A long sigh escaped his father. "I wouldn't have blamed you." There was an honesty in those words, a stark truth that felt like a dagger in Jack's heart. Years of absence and pain echoed in that simple statement. "What happened?" Jack asked, forcing the question out as emotions swirled. "Why didn't you come back for us?" "For me?" He could feel the bitterness trying to seep into his voice, but he pushed it down, determined not to let the hurt take over. His father shifted slightly in bed, a struggle written across his face. The room fell into another heavy silence, and Jack watched as emotions danced across his father's features. Sometimes we think distance makes things easier, but it's a lie. "I was wrong." Jack's breath caught in his throat. The admission felt heavy, packed with years of regret. "You left when I needed you most." The words came out sharper than he intended, the truth striking hard. "I know," his father replied, voice trembling, "and I've regretted it every single day." He closed his eyes for a moment, gathering strength. I didn't come back because I felt unworthy. I was lost, Jack. I thought it was better if I stayed away. A flicker of vulnerability crossed his father's face, and against his better judgment, Jack felt a thread of sympathy weave through his anger. Could he forgive this man? Could he find a way to bridge their years apart? Jack took a deep breath, grasping at the fragments of his own emotions. What do you want? It was a question that demanded an answer, an invitation to delve into the space they had both avoided for years. His father looked up, and for the first time, his gaze held an urgency. I want to make things right if you'll let me. The plea hung in the air, raw and unfiltered. By now, the tide of emotions rose in Jack, relentless and sweeping. He had spent too long hating the past but now found his heart racing with the possibility of rebuilding. As hope flickered, Jack wrestled with conflicting emotions. What would making things right even look like? Could he take the leap? He glanced out the window, where a storm was still brewing outside. Would they be able to weather this turbulent moment together? Or would it sweep them apart once again? Jack's heart was pounding with the weight of the choice before him. To open the door to reconciliation or to barricade it one more time. With clenched fists he leaned closer. Then let us talk. A wave of uncertainty surged within him as he took a deep breath. This was just the beginning, and the journey ahead would be anything but easy. What would his father say next? Would this fragile bridge hold them together? Or would it break under the pressure of their past? Jack's heart thrummed in his chest as he prepared for his father's next words. This was a moment that felt monumental, a crossroads in their fractured relationship. He leaned in, his curiosity piqued but tempered by caution. What does making things right mean to you? His father paused, and for a brief second, Jack wondered if he might retreat again. But he didn't. I need to start by being honest with you. All the time, he said, his voice stronger now. I haven't been honest with myself for years. Jack's brow furrowed. Honest about what? About everything. Why I left, how hard it was to stay away. My failures. His father's sunken eyes seemed to burn with a new light, a flicker of the man he used to be. I was drowning in my own mistakes, scared of facing you. Felt safer to hide. Safer? Jack echoed, the word tasting bitter on his tongue. You think abandoning us was safer? I realize now, his father replied, anguish threading through his voice, that it wasn't. I thought it was a way to protect you, and I see how misguided that was. I didn't understand what true strength was. Jack felt his composure slip as raw emotion twisted inside him. You should have been there, Dad. I was just a kid. I had to figure out life without you. I needed you. His voice cracked, exposing a fragile part of himself he had buried for years. I know. And I'm so sorry, his father said, his voice barely above a whisper. I've lived with that regret every day. And to see you, he gestured weakly, his hand trembling with emotion. To see how distant I've become. I wish I could undo it all. Jack felt the walls he had built around himself start to wobble. For years he had clung to that anger like a lifebuoy, but now he found himself questioning if he could let go. What do you want from me? He asked, his voice steady but laced with apprehension. I want a chance to show you I can be different. I want to hear you, what you've gone through. I want to understand, he implored, eyes pleading. The storm outside rumbled loudly, punctuating the heavy silence that enveloped them. Jack glanced at the window again, feeling the intensity of thunder echoing through the delicate moment. All this time, he had allowed the storm of anger to rage within him, but now he felt the clouds parting just a little. Okay. Jack's voice was barely audible against the backdrop of rain pounding against glass. But this isn't just about talking. There has to be action. I need to see. I need to know that you really mean it. His father nodded, and for the first time Jack saw a glimmer of promise. I'll show you. I'll do whatever it takes. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about you too. Jack took a breath, feeling both the weight and the relief of that honesty. The path ahead was still murky, but perhaps, just perhaps, it was not as impossible as he had once thought. Suddenly, a stark realization hit him. You know it's going to be hard, right? You can't just waltz back in and expect everything to be okay. Trust isn't given lightly, it has to be earned. He warned, determination growing in his voice. I understand, his father replied with a steadiness that surprised Jack. And I'm ready to face whatever it takes to earn your trust back. A shiver ran through Jack as these words sank in, opening up a glimmer of hope. But just as quickly, doubt crept back in. What if it was too late? The room was thick with emotions, every heartbeat drawing them nearer yet leaving a chasm wider than the ocean. Would they be able to mend what was broken? Or would this opening lead to a deeper crack between them? Jack's resolve flickered as another thunderclap burst outside, mirroring the conflict raging within him and amplifying his swirling thoughts. His father's next question would determine everything, and Jack braced himself for its weight, for finally laying everything bare. Even just a little, what did it truly mean for the relationship they never had? The silence stretched between them like a thick fog, heavy with unspoken words and the weight of shared pain. Jack shifted in his seat, feeling the tension coiling in the air. He could see his father's hands trembling slightly, the man's vulnerability almost too much to bear. It was a sight Jack had longed to witness, yet it filled him with such complicated feelings. What was strength? And what was weakness? Do you really want to know what it's been like for me? Jack asked finally, his voice steady but carrying an edge of vulnerability. He locked eyes with his father, searching for sincerity in his gaze. I do, his father replied, and this time, the quaver of his voice felt more resolute. I want to understand everything you've faced. Jack took a deep breath, unsure how to dig into the darkness of his past. Well, it started off tough. You weren't there and I felt so lost. I had to figure out how to be a man without a father. There were games, school, girls, I stumbled through them all without a guide. Each moment felt like I was fighting my own shadow. His father nodded, brow furrowed as Jack spoke. He couldn't help but notice the emotions shifting on his father's face. Regret, pain, even shame. But this time, Jack wasn't just seeing a distant figure. He saw a man imperfect, but trying to reach him. I wanted to be mad at you, Jack continued, the floodgates slowly opening. It was easier to channel all that hurt into anger. Felt powerful like a weapon. But now it just feels exhausting. I can't imagine how you've carried that all alone. His father said softly, raw honesty hanging in the air between them. Jack swallowed, suddenly feeling raw. Some days it felt like I was on a tightrope. I didn't want to fall, but I was so afraid of the heights. And just when I thought maybe I could balance, life hit me again. The day Mom got sick, it was like the world cracked open again. I had to be strong then, too. There were nights I couldn't sleep, worrying if I would wake up and drop everything. Tears stung his eyes, but he blinked them away, refusing to show weakness. He focused instead on the vulnerability that was painting his father's face, the lines between their hearts softening like melting ice. I wish I could go back, his father said, choked with emotion. I would change it all, Jack. I never wanted you to feel that way. A silence swelled again before Jack allowed a sigh to escape. But you can't change the past. None of us can. What matters is what you're willing to do now. And for me, that means showing up. I need to see you try. I will, his father promised, his voice thick. I want to be present. I want to support you, listen to you, but I'll need you to let me in, too. Jack felt another tremor, both fear and hope intertwining within him. Letting you in doesn't come easy. I understand that. I'm asking you to give me the chance to show you I can be trustworthy again. To prove that I can be a part of your life now. The rain continued to pour outside, a rhythmic backdrop to their restored dialogue. Jack could feel the thunder of his own heart, each beat a challenge to move forward. He longed for connection, but fear and doubt nagged at the edges of his mind. Okay, Jack said finally, his voice steadying. Let us take it one step at a time. But I won't sugarcoat anything. You have to be ready for the uncomfortable truths. I won't keep pretending it didn't hurt. I'm ready for that. His father's voice was firm, wrapped in sincerity. I want to hear everything, Jack. I'll take the pain if it means opening that door between us. A A slight smile broke through Jack's stoic features for the first time in years. Their journey was just beginning, filled with uncertainty but now tinged with potential. Could they really overcome the scars of the past? Could their broken pieces fit together again? Jack felt the swell of that possibility, cautiously hopeful. Just as he dared to entertain that thought, the loud crash of thunder shook the house again, echoing the questions still lingering in the air. What would be the next step on this old path? Being rebuilt anew? Would they be capable of facing the shadows of their past together? The rain continued to lash against the window, a steady percussion that matched the rhythm of Jack's anxious heart. He glanced at his father, wondering what truths would spill out next. Would the weight of their shared silence break under the pressure of honesty? Jack took the plunge. You want to know what else? There were days when it felt like nobody understood. I walked through the halls at school with a smile plastered on, but inside, I was screaming. The more I tried to fit into a mold that felt foreign, the more I lost myself. You should have seen the faces of my friends when I raised a glass at some party, celebrating life. If they only knew about my nightmares. His father flinched a little, the truth hitting him with palpable force. You carried all this and I never saw it. I was too caught up in my own darkness. It's not only your fault, Jack replied, working through his thoughts. Life gets in the way. There were moments you could have reached out, but I was too stubborn to accept it. I wanted a father, but I didn't know how to ask for help. Just saying it made the old wounds burn, but it was also liberating to voice that truth. Silence hung around them like thick smoke, each person lost in their own thoughts. Jack could see that his father was wrestling with deep regrets, but there was something else sparked by the empathy emerging between them. Maybe, just maybe, they could usher in a new chapter. Jack, his father finally spoke, his voice low and steady. We can't erase those years, but I want to be there for you now. Let us not dwell on the past. Let's talk about what you need. Jack felt his breath hitch. What do you think I need? He leaned forward, testing the waters, eager to see if they could breach the gulf that had defined their relationship for so long. I think you need to know that it's okay to be vulnerable. You don't have to pretend you're perfect or strong all the time. No one is. Suddenly, Jack felt stripped bare again. I'm scared, he admitted, feeling the truth pour from his heart. Scared that if I let you in, you'll leave again. Scared that I'll fall right back into the darkness and there won't be anyone to catch me. His father's gaze softened. I'm here right now. It's a small step, but it's a step nonetheless. Jack nodded slowly, the simple act of his father being present filling the empty spaces he had sensed for so long. Perhaps they were beginning to carve out a new foundation. But could he trust that fragile hope? Then his father leaned closer. When I was out there serving in the Navy, I had to face my fears daily. But there was always someone backing me up. I wouldn't have survived those dives without pulling together as a team. It's what made us stronger. It struck Jack deeply. The idea of teamwork felt foreign in this context, but it also felt right. What if they could learn to support each other? Maybe we can try that, Jack replied quietly. A team, but how do we start? For the first time in what felt like forever, Jack saw the corners of his father's mouth begin to lift. We tackle our fears together. One conversation at a time, one moment of honesty at a time. As the rain began to lessen, leaving behind a gentle patter, Jack felt a flicker of warmth ignite in his chest. It wouldn't be easy. The road ahead would likely be rocky, filled with ups and downs, but he felt a shift. They had taken their first step. Just when a realization was settling in, an unmistakable vibration from Jack's phone broke through the moment. He grabbed it from the table, his heart racing as the screen lit up with a message from an unexpected number. Could this be the thing that shook him off balance again? What did this new message mean? Jack's heart raced as he squinted at the screen. The message simply read, Jack, we need to talk. It's urgent. The sender's name was unfamiliar, but something in the message prickled at his gut. His stomach twisted at the thought of what it could possibly mean. Was it about one of his friends? Had something gone wrong? In that moment, the fragile hope he had just begun to nurture wavered like a flickering light. Who is that? His father asked, his voice cutting through Jack's thoughts. I don't know. I don't recognize the number, Jack replied, a knot forming in his throat. Do you want to check it out? His father encouraged, leaning forward slightly. Yeah, I guess, Jack said, though doubt hung heavy in the air. He felt torn between the important conversation with his father and whatever this new message heralded. With shaky fingers, Jack typed out a quick response. What's going on? Who is this? He hit send and held his breath. Moments stretched into what felt like eternity. Raindrops tapped gently on the window, the sound filling the silence as anticipation built between them. He wasn't sure if he was ready for whatever was coming next, but it felt like fate knocking at his door. Finally, the phone buzzed again. It's Rebecca. We need to talk. It's about the party last weekend. Jack's heart sank. Rebecca. Thoughts of that night rushed back, mixed with frustration and confusion. The laughter, the dancing, all overshadowed by regrets he couldn't shake off. What could she possibly want? He muttered under his breath. What did she say? His father asked, still watching Jack closely. It's about the party. Something must have happened, Jack answered, his brow furrowing. His father remained silent but leaned back, arms crossed. Jack could see the thoughts flickering behind his father's steady gaze. Maybe you should call her, his father suggested, a touch of determination in his voice. There was no judgment, no impatience, just genuine concern. Yeah, Jack agreed, though his heart didn't flutter with excitement. But what if it's bad? Then you'll handle it, just like we handle everything else, his father replied, pushing up from the table and placing a hand on Jack's shoulder. You've got me, right? The reassurance was comforting yet shaky. Jack remembered the promise they'd just made. Still, he knew he couldn't ignore this. Messy as it was, there was still a tangled thread from that night that needed untangling. Gathering courage, Jack nodded and dialed Rebecca's number. His heart thumped loudly in his chest, each ring echoing the uncertainty swirling within him. The call went straight to voicemail. He hung up, feeling even more unsettled. What now? He said, frustration leaking into his voice. Leave a message. Just be honest, his father suggested. It's all you can do right now. Jack took a deep breath, steeling himself. Okay, here goes. He recorded his message, allowing his uncertainty to spill out. Hey Rebecca, it's Jack. I just got your text. I don't know what you want to talk about, but I'm here to listen. Please call me back. Disconnecting the call, he looked up at his father. Now we wait, I guess? He said, feeling the familiar weight of tension settle back in. Yes, but while we wait, let us talk about what you're really feeling about that night, his father replied gently. And as the rain softened to a gentle drizzle, Jack felt the tension of that night creeping back, threatening to stifle the small flame of hope they had ignited. He had opened a door he wasn't sure he was ready to walk through. Would the conversation with Rebecca lead him back to the dark places he tried so hard to escape? Why did it feel like a relentless storm was brewing both inside and outside of him? Jack stared at the blinking light on his phone. Each pulse felt like a countdown to something inevitable, something he both craved and dreaded. His father's gaze remained steady, but Jack could sense the weight of shared anxiety between them. Do you think she's okay? Jack's voice shook slightly. The question hung in the air like a fragile whisper, inviting quick conclusions. His father exhaled slowly. I think she needs to talk to you. That's a start, right? You're both friends. Friends, Jack repeated, the word feeling heavy on his tongue. So much more had happened since that night, and yet, despite the chaos, part of him still wanted to reach out. But another part feared what lay on the other side of that conversation. The rain outside began to pick up again, slashing against the window like the whispers of memories he wished to bury. Jack closed his eyes for a moment, replaying snippets of laughter and dancing, intertwined with snippets of haunting regret. What if she blames me? He muttered, the tension coiling tighter. She might, but maybe you both could talk it out? Misunderstandings often turn into mountains when they don't get addressed, you know? His father's words were wise, yet each one felt like a double-edged sword. I just don't want it to get messy, Jack confessed. Life gets messy, son. You can't avoid it. You just have to face it when it arrives. Jack nodded, though trepidation danced in his chest. As the minutes crawled by, he couldn't shake the unease that clung to him like a wet blanket. Every second spent waiting felt like an eternity. Should he text her again? Call back? His mind spun with all the what-ifs. Then, his heart nearly leaped out of his chest when his phone vibrated again. He grabbed it eagerly, noticing the incoming message was from Rebecca. Jack, can we talk? I'm really sorry about everything that happened. I think I might have messed things up. Jack's heart sank into another pit of uncertainty. Was this an apology? Did she really believe she was the one who had messed up? He looked over at his father, meeting his gaze. The understanding passed silently between them. Both knew this was the moment of reckoning. I'll respond, Jack said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Take your time. Remember to be honest with her, his father encouraged, his voice calm and steady. Jack nodded, fingers hovering over the keypad as he crafted his reply. Sure, but where do we meet? After he hit send, a drop of sweat formed on his brow. The air in the room felt stifling. Every sound amplified the ticking clock, the rain drumming on the roof, the faint rustle of the leaves outside. His phone buzzed again, and he nearly jumped. How about the park? Let us say in 30 minutes? Okay, he typed back quickly, unsure of what he was feeling. Was it relief, anxiety, or a strange thrill of anticipation? Are you ready for this? His father asked, perceptive as always. I don't know, what if it goes wrong? Then it's still an opportunity. You'll learn something, even from the failures. His father's words resonated deep within him, giving him the strength to face the uncertain path ahead. As he prepared to leave, a part of him wanted to cling to the safety of the kitchen. But another part, the part that craved connection and understanding, the part that longed for closure, pulled him forward. Let us go, he said, determination flickering through the haze of doubt. But just as he reached for the door, his phone buzzed again. He swiped it open, and his heart skipped as he read the message. Just so you know, this isn't just about the party. Jack paused, fingers trembling over the screen. What else could she mean? What other layers lay beneath the surface of their tangled story? The rain outside picked up once more, mirroring the storm brewing within him as he prepared to step into the unknown. Jack stepped outside, the chill of the rain soaking into his clothes as the drops splattered against his skin. The park was only a short walk away, but each footfall felt like wading through a thick fog of uncertainty. He replayed Rebecca's words in his mind, the weight of her message heavy on his heart. This wasn't just about the party. What could she mean? He was barely at the corner when he noticed a couple of kids splashing in the puddles, their laughter ringing through the air like a few sunbeams breaking through the clouds. It was contagious. Their joy pulled at something deep within him, a wistful reminder of the innocence he once felt before everything got complicated. As Jack approached the park entrance, the trees stood like silent sentinels, their branches swaying in the wind, echoing his inner turmoil. He glanced at his watch. Just 10 minutes to go. With a rush of adrenaline, he took a deep breath and walked further in. The park was mostly empty, the rain keeping away all but the brave or the stubborn. Jack spotted a bench under a gazebo, the perfect spot for their meeting. He sat down, the dampness seeping through his jeans, but he didn't care. All he could think about was what Rebecca might say and how to respond. He replayed every moment they had shared in his mind, the jokes, the late-night talks, the way her eyes sparkled when she laughed. But then there were also the moments of silence, the undeniable tension after the party. Regret clouded his thoughts. The sound of footsteps pulled him from his reverie. He looked up to see Rebecca walking towards him. Her hair was slightly damp, framing her face. She looked uncertain, her hands tucked into her pockets as if trying to find warmth within herself. Hey, she greeted, her voice soft yet steady. Hey, he replied, trying to match her tone but feeling the tremor in his own voice. They stood there for a moment, both searching each other's eyes, trying to find whatever it was they had lost. Jack gestured towards the bench. Want to sit? Yeah, sure. She took a seat, the tension thick as they settled into a silence that seemed to stretch on forever. Finally, Jack broke the ice. I got your message. You said it's not just about the party? Her breath caught and she looked down. Right? I mean, everything that happened that night just made me realize how much I've been avoiding things. Not just with you, but with my life. Jack felt a pang of empathy. Did she mean what he thought she meant? Was this about more than just their friendship? What do you mean? Rebecca took a shaky breath. I felt like I was always running from the truth, from my feelings. I didn't want to admit that I was scared of us. Of everything. His heart raced. Was this a confession? The rain began to fall again, softly tapping on the roof of the gazebo above them. He needed to be open, too. I've been feeling lost as well. It's like since that night, everything has changed. I thought I was supposed to have it all figured out, but I don't. She looked up at him, her eyes glistening with unspilled emotions. Maybe we both need to figure things out together. Jack felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Together? Could they really navigate through the confusion? A surge of hope clashed with fear, the kind of fear that whispered about potential heartache. Before he could respond, Rebecca leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm scared, Jack. What if I mess things up again? He reached out, taking her hand in his. The warmth of her skin calmed the storm inside him. What if we try and find out? For a moment, everything felt still, and true connection sparked between them. Jack sensed that something significant was unfolding here, yet the weight of uncertainty still loomed. Maybe we can? She whispered with a tentative smile, but the flicker of doubt remained in her eyes as the rain trickled down in steady rhythm. Jack stared at their joined hands and felt his heart leap. What came next would reshape everything they thought they knew. But just as their fingers intertwined, a familiar sound broke the moment. Jack's phone buzzed angrily in his pocket, drawing his attention away. He hesitated, the tension tightening around them. What news awaited him? He glanced at Rebecca, who watched him expectantly, her gaze uncertain. This was the moment the tide could shift once more. What would the text hold? Jack felt the weight of the moment settle on him like a heavy fog. He pulled his phone from his pocket, his heart racing with anticipation as he glanced at the screen. It was his father, the message reading, "Let us talk." I'm ready. Jack's mind raced, feeling the shaky foundation of everything he had just started to build wobble beneath him. His father was reaching out, willing to confront the past. Yet here he was with Rebecca, navigating a fragile new connection. Is everything okay? Rebecca asked, curiosity and concern etched on her face. He hesitated, every instinct telling him to ignore the troubling mix of emotions swelling within him. Yeah, he replied, forcing a smile, yet his heart craved openness. It's just my dad. We're trying to work through things. I promised him I'd give it a shot. Rebecca nodded, understanding, but there was that hint of worry in her eyes. You're doing a lot right now, Jack. You deserve to focus on what you need to. With a jolt of realization, he felt a rush of affection for her concern. He wanted to shout that she was his anchor, but fear held him back. Instead, he squeezed her hand, grounding himself. I do need to face this. I want to be honest with you, and the same goes for my dad. It's important. Then go talk to him. I can wait, she offered, her voice steady, but the ache of uncertainty swirled in the air between them. No, wait, Jack said, the words spilling out. This conversation is important too. We need to both figure out how to move forward. The moment hung in the balance, and somewhere within it, courage nudged him forward. I think we both have to confront our fears. I can't run from my family issues and pretend it doesn't affect what we have. Rebecca gazed at him, eyes shining with empathy, and Jack felt a connection deepening, a recognition of shared vulnerability. So we face our storms together? Together. He smiled and something clicked into place. Their relationship could be an adventure, just like his journey with his father. As the rain slowed, Jack breathed in the cool, fresh smell of the earth and the clean slate it promised. Okay, let us talk. Let us be honest and brave, no more shying away. She smiled back, placing her free hand on top of their entwined fingers. I'm scared, but I want to try. He could see the shimmer of hope in her eyes, the kind that spoke of new beginnings. Then let us embrace the messiness, he said softly. We'll tackle everything head-on. I'll call my dad later, but first, let us share what we're feeling. With that, they dove into an open conversation, sharing their fears, dreams, and regrets. Jack painted a picture of his childhood, how it had shaped him, how it left him craving connection. Rebecca revealed her own struggles, how she feared being vulnerable, the walls she had built over the years. With each honest word, Jack felt their bond tighten. The storms they both faced were fierce, but the strength of their shared resolve slowly began to forge a connection that could weather anything. Hours passed in that rainy gazebo, filled with laughter, smiles, and healing tears. They faced their fears together, and Jack realized that this was a transformation, the uncharted territory of vulnerability, connection, and compassion. Later, as the sun broke through the clouds, casting a golden hue over the park, Jack released a breath he didn't know he had been holding. This was a pivotal shift for him, a step toward healing. He reached for his phone, and as the glowing screen lit up, he felt a weight lift. Jack knew he could face his father now, sharing the transformation he had experienced with Rebecca. He could take that leap into the uncertain yet hopeful future. But before hitting dial, he turned to the side to look at Rebecca. "You ready to take on this adventure, too?" She laughed lightly, joy illuminating her features. Always, with courage swelling in his heart, Jack dialed his father. This time he felt different. He was ready not just to face the past, but to embrace the present. The phone rang, and as he waited, he marveled at how beautifully messy life could be. It was scary and uncertain, but Jack knew they could navigate it together, and together was all he needed. Now is the time to make an impactful difference. You need to subscribe now to the channel. This is the moment to show your support and not miss out on more inspiring stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let us know you want more content like this. Your engagement really matters. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the message of growth and healing. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about the journey we just experienced.